Alright, dudes and dudettes, welcome back to Sink the Bismarck. So, where had we left off? Exciting developments. Hey, the new update is out, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to actually be able to run this campaign. We'll have to see. It said it's caused some issues, particularly with... did I upgun that Nassau? Yes, I did. Why did I not upgun the Helgoland? Anyway, we'll put 13 5s on the Nassaus and see how they perform. Big guns. We're at Mark III 13-inch guns right now. So our gun technology is actually pretty solid. But let's see here. We've got turret. We've got turret mechanisms, and I don't see triple turrets yet. We don't have access to triples yet. But we will have 3 superimposed mounts for large guns in the near future. So, what were we pushing? We were pushing engines, and I think the next one should be those geared turbines. Alright. Should be the geared turbines. So, anyway, we are at peace. We're losing 5 million a turn, which, considering that we have 15.75 billion dollars in reserve right now, I think we're okay. Might not be okay. We'll have to see. So, anyway, we're busy refitting fleets. We're busy shuttling ships around. That fleet actually is sitting there, I think, in anticipation of our new battleships that will be coming out sooner rather than later. The Nassaus are next up for refit. And the scattergun, I'm not sure what I want to do with them just yet. I'm not sure what I can do with them just yet. Maybe I can upgun the secondaries. Maybe. But, you know, for zone control, lighter anyway, zone control ships, they're probably going to do just fine. Do I have enough, no, I don't have enough port capacity to open up that last one yet. We might just have to wait. But the Kaiser was a weird class. The Germans came off of their standard of 4 ships, or maybe they went back to their standard of 5 ships, depending on how you want to look at it, I guess. Okay, we've got Ariadnes, we've got Magdeburgs. The Magdeburgs are done building for now. We've still got some of these old V-21s, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two. I'm going to set them to limited, and I'm going to go ahead and strip the crew off of these two as well. Well, that's a little weird. Don't I have some 45s or something I can stick with this? I'll have to run them down then, I guess. Let's see here, some 45s maybe, or better yet would be some of these 73s. So let me see here. Yeah, I've got 4 of those V-73s in Gibraltar, so we'll go ahead and take 2 of them and put them in here. Okay, why can't they move? Really? Because Homeboy's got a ship there, we can't do anything with him? You know what, whatever. I'll go ahead and pull them. We can leave those 2 out there. That'll be fine. I could run some of those V-45s out of Diego Suarez. Those Kaiser and Augustas, they'll be all right, I think, for again zone control. Okay, that cruiser's there. They're sitting there. He's waiting on the last of those upgrades. And then where do we want to send him? Probably into the Mediterranean, because if we're going to provoke France into a fight, let's get them ready. Okay. And there's I think one last of those Saxonies that we're also building. So in 4 months, actually next month, we might have enough to go ahead and throw the Kaiser in there. The last of the Kaisers, though, those guys are 33,500 tons. This guy's only 19,000. Okay. Back to the ship designs. I got the Magdeburg. Oops. The Ariadnes are fitted out. Kinpu, I think, was one that we swiped from the Japanese. But I would like to look at this this MG42 build here. I'm curious how they might come out down the road, especially as we get to more powerful armor-piercing type shells. Or, if nothing else, we could use them as a distance commerce raider. That might be another really good use for this guy, actually, because then we could just we could crank the ammunition down to something that'll deal with heavy cruisers and smaller, and then just put him out there and go to work. It's kind of an expensive ship for that, though. 1.8 million. Yeah, well, 1.18 million. The Nassaus have gone up to $1 million a month. I mean, you know, so. But we do have 13.5-inch guns mounted on them now. And they're kind of pushing maximum tonnage. See, the Nassaus I don't think were a good choice for the 13.5s in hindsight. Maybe I should have done that with the Helgolands. I mean, hell, she's already upgraded to 12s. So we'll have to see how it works out with the Nassaus. Maybe I'll have to do a micro upgrade. Maybe. Did something come out? Actually, now that I stop and think about it, maybe something came out. I don't know. I'll have to see. So turret mechanisms, again, what are we coming up with? Small barrels number 3. So that's going to allow our small barrels 2-inch and lower to go up to 8% increase in length. 3 superimposed large turrets is coming up. And for the control station, we got central fire control that's coming out actually very soon. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and pump that as well for now. We'll go ahead and get that for sure. And that way, maybe I can do a micro refit on those Nassaus. And quite frankly, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the gun size. But anyway, we're done building Nassaus, so I can go ahead and delete that as well. And then the scatter gun, well, we're going to come up to we're going to come up with a refit on those. We'll come up with a good refit on those because it's a 19,000 ton ship. We might, with the advent of better armors, we might be able to actually upgun this to 13s, and keep it carronade style. Either that or I'll upgrade the secondary battery. We'll just have to see how that works itself out. Those 1.9s, you know, what do you do with those? I'd leave those alone just for really close range purposes. Maybe up them to 50 millimeters. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Anyway, on to the next turn. Hmm. Okay. All right. So we have fleets affecting bilateral relations. And there again, are these improving or are they not? Are they deteriorating? I'm. Sweden wants to order 3 of the V45s. Yeah, we can do that for you, Sweden. 93%. Yeah, we'll do that. Syria, on the other hand, wants 3 of the 73s at 114% increase. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that for you guys. Colombia canceled alliance with France. Indonesia canceled alliance with France. So that's interesting. Okay, so V30, V41. Those guys are now for sale. And can I go to Gibraltar and grab my ships? Yes. Okay, so we'll send a couple of the 73s down to West Africa. And now that I think about it, I actually think I have 2 V73s. Yeah, we've got this one. Oh my God, how many of these have I built? Maybe not. All right, so let's check our finances. We have 20, just shy, like 19,000 tons. Maybe 18,000 actually. About 18,000 tons to give. So no, we do not have enough to go ahead and open up the other Kaiser. So we'll just have to continue to jimmy those. Now that's something that I do from time to time if I want my ships to come out more or less at the same time. I'll suspend and then I'll shift it. I'll shuttle it around. So let's see here. We're building all of them except for Friedrich der Grosse. And let me see here. So what I might do is go ahead and suspend the Prince Regent and resume on the Friedrich der Grosse. Okay. The heavy cruiser here, the Saxony, will be coming out soon enough. And then that'll open up another 12,000 tons, I think. Yes. And then we can go ahead and deal with that. Now the Nassaus, I'm gonna wait that extra 2 months before I start moving the Nassaus around. We'll leave them there. These are the Helgolands, which are currently our most powerful ships. Let's go ahead and move these guys into the Western Mediterranean over here. And how many of those actually? What's our weight? 122,000. Well, hell, if we do get this war with France kicked off, we can actually invade Corsica right away. Maybe I've done this before a time or two. That's the other nice thing about having larger fleet heavy cruisers too, though, is that it adds that really nice bit of extra tonnage. adds that nice bit of extra tonnage to the fleet. 2 destroyers there. 2 destroyers there. Speaking of destroyers, more of those V-21s have gone to port. Actually, I think it's the last. It is. Look at that. It's the last of the V-21s. It's the last of them, guys. Get those old boats out of here. Top speed of 30 knots, and twin single torpedo tubes, The V-45s are still serviceable. And wow, look at that. The V-45s actually require slightly more crew than the 73s. Isn't that spiffy? But what will be happening soon, actually, is going to be geared turbines. Which do we want to go ahead and swap those over into our destroyers at some point? I have to pay real close attention to that because the destroyers really are, and we got 4-bladed contra-rotating propellers coming up as well. What happens if I take this off of here? It buys us two more months over there, which okay. But I'm going to go ahead and get this control station upgrade, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another refit on those Nassau's, because come to think of it, the Nassau's with 13s is a bit much. So maybe I'll drop him down to 12s, or 13.5s rather. I'll drop him down to 12s. And that way I can put a nice secondary battery on these guys. And then the Helgolands, of course, can come along. And because they already have 12s, I'll go to 13. I'll go to 4 13.5s on him, or her rather. And yeah. And then we have to consider, what are we going to do with this here scattergun? Because it's on a small dreadnought hull, we're really only going to be able to push the engine so far. We'll be able to push the speed so far. I mean, at 22 knots, it was one of our fastest early builds, but now we're literally coming out with the MG class, which are surpassing that. In the MG-34, actually, I had to over it a little bit. I think the maximum efficient speed on that hull is like 22 knots, but this one was able to go a little bit higher. And of course, with 8 twin 9.4-inch guns, this is going to be an interesting thing. I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out. It's a first time doing anything like that, so not to mention we got 2 of the hyper funnels with the cranes that help with damage control and things of that nature. Okay, so let's see here. Politics, yes, because we can poke the French again. Let's go ahead and poke them. We want to get on their nerves. We want to see about taking them on, and I don't know, maybe completely eliminating them. Though, do I really want to? I mean, and this is where I'm at with it. Is do I really want to start moving into Southeast Asia? It's another sea zone to control. I mean, it wouldn't be hateful. Honestly, it really wouldn't be hateful at all. We got our Prinz Regent Luitpold class over here. So we have 2 Prinz Regent Luitpolds in service at the same time. We've got another one of these scatter guns. And there again, that's something I'm going to want to take a look at, because how do I have it outfitted? Do I want to go ahead and just put, SAP shells on that guy, and then have better armor penetrating HE shells? I've never tried that before. It's part of what we're doing with this. It's really part of what I'm doing with this anyway. Definitely want to conquer all of Africa, though. We're going to want to get the French out of Africa, and we've got the territory to do it. We've got the fleets to do it. Maybe I might actually have to take the Helgoland ships down there. Let me see. Well, don't I have another? Hold on a second. Don't we have another battleship class that we actually split, or was that in another campaign? Am I? Yeah, it's the Prinz Regent Luitpolds. Those are the oldest of them. They were built in 1902, 1901, 1902. The Siegfrieds all came out in 1903. Same with the Nassaus, all in 1904. Um, so I think we are up for an update on the scattergun next. But first, I'm going to want to clean up the Nassaus. So let's go back to the research real quick. What did I have? 2 months. 2 months. Okay. And meanwhile, we are in fact prodding the French. So let's see what happens with that. Yes, they they're responding the way that we want them to. The Netherlands also have canceled their alliance with France. Okay, well, if nobody wants to be friends with the French, then nobody wants to be friends with the French. We've got our Kaiser and Augusta over here with a Magdeburg light cruiser, which makes this fleet really, really actually solid, I think. We might want to take Djibouti from the French, but primarily I think what I want to try to focus on is the homeland. Definitely, though, and this is going to be a concern going up against France, is their army logistics are at 100%. We're only at 26. So the concern there, of course, is that he might launch a land invasion from Western France back into Northern France. And with the way our army logistics are right now, that would be disastrous. That would definitely be disastrous. So wait, what's the tonnage on this fleet? Let me see here. Come on. 93,000 tons. Okay. If we're at 93,000 tons, I can actually use it in conjunction with this other fleet, this one with the scattergun in it. I can use it in conjunction with that fleet to maybe move through his colonial holdings here, at least on the coast. We're not going to be able to take Algeria, at least not southern Algeria. We could take northern Algeria and Tunisia. This is where we're going to run into maybe some complications. But anyway, let's get this fleet out into the Bay of Biscay. Okay. And what do we have? We put a Saxony in there and a Magdeburg in there, and we've got 2 of those V-73s. Okay, cool. All right. Let's go ahead and move this ship up to... Move him out to Cork, actually. Put him out on the point. I think these are both 73s as well. 1906 builds. This fleet can stay put. And there again, I still have... Okay, so the next one I think is I should be able to hold the Kaiser, or maybe the Kaiser in. Funny. Got 2 months left on it. Do I want to go ahead and build some more of those Magdeburgs? And that's what I like about the light cruisers. At least some of the light cruisers is you can do this. Keep your build small, and they actually very effectively do what they're supposed to do. One more turn on the control systems, and then we'll have to consider where do we want to go next. I do want to push for those geared turbines because geared turbines start to become very, very efficient. Let's see. Okay. Well, we did do a good job out here. We captured everything that we wanted to. We captured everything that we were supposed to. 14,000 tons. It's not a lot of tonnage. I mean, you know, but with 3 ships, I'm already surpassing those. So those scatter guns might not be a bad idea. Like I said, just if for nothing else, zone control. But I'm going to leave this fleet in the Yellow Sea if it comes down to it, and I'll send this guy over here to, well, to harass the French over here in Southeast Asia. I'll just put him out here. Um, yeah, and then I can do fleet control. I can do basically convoy raiding all over the place here in Southeast Asia, and he'll have a hard time on uprooting that fleet. Um, 2 destroyers over in Herbertua. Are they 45s? They are indeed. Are these guys? Nope, those are 73s. Tell you what, I'm going to borrow a few more. Well, borrow. I'm going to reposition a few more of these ships. I'll take 4 of them because I have a fleet over there. These guys would be for, well, coming around and harassing ports and things of that nature. And they're going to be 3 turns out, which is pretty good. The 45s might be aging. We'll have to see what happens with the next one. Austria-Hungary also was starting to show a little dissension. They were prompting us. They were prodding us for war as well. Okay, so what have we come up with? More relationship problems. Germany versus Italy, Germany versus Spain. Wow, we're just pissing everybody off right now, aren't we? Okay, we got. Oh, wait. Well, that's good timing actually. So Sweden wants 3 more of the V45s. Okay. All right, so let's go back into our ship design. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at this Nassau class, and we are going to modify it. First and foremost, I'm going to nix those 13 5s and go down to 12s. Because, quite frankly, I don't think this ship has enough tonnage, really, to do it justice. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a refit. All right, we're going to take away these 13 5s. And we're going to replace them with 12s. 12s, 12s at this time period are still rather effective, actually. They're very effective guns. We still maintain the balance, and look at that, we saved about 1,000 tons worth of weight. Let's see here. We could go to electric steering, but I don't for I would say very obvious purposes, I really don't care for the electric steering. Now, what are we looking at for penetration with these 12s with semi-ballistics? Yeah, we might have to go to standards. We might have to go to something else even. 11-1 at 15,000 meters is actually pretty good. What we could do, though, is we could also fiddle with, let me see here. We got an advanced radio. We got stereoscopic rangefinders. Armoring might be getting a little light, actually. Let's go with 12-inch guns. We'll go with 14 inches of armor with 3 on the top, and then a 16 barbette if we can get away with that. There we go. Much better protected, much better protected. Okay, so another thing we can do that's also going to be really nice is going to be to bump up the caliber. So we got 113. Let's go to 3%, see where that gets us. These are L47s, 106. These are L48s, 103. If we go to 5%, that gets us right at 101. So these are long L48s. And at 15,000 meters, we're doing 12 inches of penetration with standard shells. If we drop back to semi-ballistics, what does that get us? That gets us to more close range type of a dynamic. Yeah, 9 inches. No, it's not. It's not going to work. So let's go back to standards. And what we could do theoretically, though I don't really like the idea of the cordite, to be honest. Increase muzzle velocity, increase range. I mean, hell, these guys are cranking out to 25 kilometers now. We could do cordite and dunite, but that's going to make the flammability. Let's see here. Armoring, damage control. There it is. So the armoring is, the fire chance is increased by 14%. The flooding chance is reduced rather drastically. And then the flash fire chance is at 51.6. Good God. And that's what you get for dunite. TNT, however, is very stable. And that's why I like the TNT specifically. What does that do to our weapon performance, though, is the question. See, we drop back to 10.5 penetration at 15,000. I'm looking at the 15. I'm looking at 15 kilometers. I could make this a closer range ship. Could actually do that. So see, we went from 9 months down to 4 months. This is already working out better for us. Do I want to upgun the secondaries, or do I just want to go ahead and slap in some turrets? Maybe some 105 millimeter secondaries would be very nice, right? Maybe. So let's go 105s. Let's max the length. We'll stick a pair of 105s on here. Aft weight offset. I don't like aft weight offsets. Come on, guys. Let's build a better ship here. Actually, I'll do that, and then what I can do is I can rebalance the armor. Maybe. What's the maximum armor on those? It's going to be 2.8 with, we'll say 1.5 on top just for shrapnel protection. All right, so we could do that. Those are 88s, okay. And maybe we just do that. Maybe we slap some 88s on here. Secondary guns, double barrels. It's 20 to 22. That's 21 to 22. What does happen if I stick some more 88s on here, though? 0.5 with max length barrels. That's going to get us to 26 to 28. Actually, this ship is going to be very well protected because it's got that inner belt. So let's see what we do if we can go up to 7 and 7 on the fore and aft end. I would like to do that. 12L48s. Actually, the cordite does improve. Or was it the ballistite that reduced reload? Base gun accuracy, base gun accuracy. Ba, 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 ba. See, the flash fire chance is still crazy high. I don't know if I like that. Yeah, so cordite actually improves reload. Doesn't say anything about improved reload. It does increase shell damage though by 10%. So it's going to depend. Flash fire chance is at 18.5%. Fire chance is down. So I think we go with ballistite. We go with ballistite and TNT. Might be the best combination there. Now, we still have nose fuse shells, but what I might want to do, more so with this ship, is start to convert it over. Well, let me see here. Nose fuse is going to give us destroyer wrecking ability. If we go up to back to base fuse, that will actually give us light cruiser wrecking ability. And again at 15 kilometers, that's kind of what we're looking at. So actually, this might be a really solid. But what happens if we go to heavy shells? Where does that put us? That puts our reloading at just under 1 round a minute. But it does give us 11.8 on the penetration. That might be a bit too much. That might be a bit much. What happens if I add auxiliary diesels? Well, we'll experiment with that too. So let's go ahead and add auxiliary diesels. We've up armored the fore and aft belt to 7 inches, which makes it pretty darn heavy. We've added a pair of 105s. Is that advisable? Long range accuracy, aiming speed. So the accuracy, fire control, where's fire control? Maneuverability towers. You know, the only other thing we might do is reduce that draft, but I kind of don't want to do that. I don't really want to mess with the base statistics of the ship itself. We got turbines, we got induced draft boilers. We're still rocking coal fuel. We haven't discovered semi-coal yet, which is okay. Now, the real question is, though, do I want to, let's see here. If I do that versus the coincidence number 2, what do we get? 8.5, 32.5, and then we get 16.10. So 16 becomes the base accuracy, which is pretty much double. And then aim speed is going to go from 70.5 to 105.5%. And that's something actually to consider if we're getting into experimental mode here. We could set this ship up for 10,000 meters, which at 9.7, okay. Heavy shells, okay. 10.3. And if we go back to, no, if we stay at ballistite, but we switch back over to dunite, at 10,000 meters, we go to 11.3. And then what we do to counteract that is just go to the nose fuse for long range. Hit them with those nose fuse shells and just cause massive fires at longer ranges. But when we close, we're punching holes in them and doing some damage too. Almost 1,000 damage on a 12-inch gun is pretty darn good. But we have to be really careful because our flash fire chance is back up to 40% and our fire chance is at 4%. There's just too much of a gap between the semi ballistics and the standards. And what we'll do there, since we're setting this guy up for close range, is we'll go ahead and put a coincidence rangefinder on him. All right, let's see how she does. We'll have to see how she does. This is part of what we do here, is we play around with these things, and if it works, great. If not, well, on to the next thing. Hopefully we don't lose any of our battleships doing this, though. All right, so we went ahead, we refitted the Nassau. All right, we got a little bit of time left. Maybe we go on to the scattergun. I don't know. Should we fart around? Should we fart around with this? Yeah, and see, it's having to work to load it. Okay, so what did we have as far as let's see here. And it was because of the setup, I think. We used standard AP with soft capped shells. Again, we're trying to go for close range. And good God, those guns are not accurate at all, are they? But what they do, and what they do very well, actually, is plunging fire. So, I say let's go ahead and let's get a refit in on this guy. What we are going to do is we are going to, I think, finally switch over to the turbine engines. Okay, we can try for 23 knots. That brings down engine efficiency down to 97%, which I think is going to be within tolerance. Now here's the question. Do we want to stick with the 12.9s or do we want to go over to the 13s? Let's see what we can get. No, I don't want side guns. I want centerline guns. I want 13s. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a carronade, right? So the idea here is that we're going to chop them off. Okay. And our rate of fire is 1.52 with that. So it's actually a little bit higher. But if we're going to go with the same premise, we're going to go with maximum bore size. 13 to 14, 13 to 14. So the accuracy really is going to be about 6.1/2 to 5.156. Actually, at more of our mid-range, it's starting to push into about where we want it to be. Now, do we stick with the 6.9s or do we move up to 7s? I think maybe what we do is we stick with the 6.9s. We've got these big funnel 2s on here. Right now we're at a 3-month refit. And that's because we're completely changing the engine scheme. Let's go up armor to Krupp. We're going to stick with that. We're going to go with stay with anti-flood number 1, anti-torp number 1. Oh no, wait. Let's put it on anti-flood number 1. There we go. Hydraulic steering. And auxiliary engine, of course. Okay. And look at that. We're upping it to 23 knots. If we change the funnels, they were on big funnel 2, right? Big funnel number 2. If we go to big funnel number 3, can we get another 1/2 knot? Yes, we can. So actually, we can get a whole knot out of it now. 6 months on the refit. That's okay. And we are still about 2,300 tons under limit. Now, we do need to upgrade this. Now, oh boy, this is where we're gonna get real interesting with this, I think. And we are upgunning, so let's go ahead and nix these 12s. We're going to go ahead and mount these short-barreled 13s. All right, we're gonna plop them short-barreled 13s down on this bad boy. All right, now we're at 7 months on the refit. Uh, we're going to go with coincidence number 2 because it's a close range ship, and we're going with advanced radio. Electro-hydraulic turret. Let's go with the electro-hydraulic turret. Okay, now, do we want TNT? Do we want picric acid? Or do we want the dunite? The dunite's going to give us better penetration, but the picric acid ultimately is going to give us the better damage. Now, if we go with that, yeah, again, we're having to get real close. But there again, look at that. At 10,000 meters, we are punching through 2.5 inches of deck armor, which is going to be pretty darn nasty. Now we're down to 1.8. So if we go to semi-ballistics, oh boy, look at those damage values though. The soft capped shells, and again, we're talking about having to rain shells down on our opponents. But there again, 3,000 with soft capped shells, and it's really honestly threatening heavy cruisers at this point. Though maybe we just go with the nose fuse. Let's stick with the standard ratio. We're going with heavy shells. We're going with picric acid. And this ship is going to be a real fire hazard. 42.6% chance of fire. The inner belt, we're going to leave the inner belt at 6 inches. The deck, we're going to go with a 1/2 inch on the deck. And our deck is going to be real thin, but that's because this guy is designed to get close, to get very, very close. We're going to go ahead and max out those little pea shooters there. Now for the 13s, we're going to want, oh boy, 14 inches. Is 14 inches of armor going to be enough? We'll go with 2, and on the barbette, we're going to go with another 14 on the barbette. We'll keep that in mind. All right, so what do we have for weaponry? We've got 13.9 L35s, and that's as short as they're going to get. Now, what we could do is we could lengthen the barrel on these 6.9s. But there again, it's going to affect the rate of fire. The rate of fire on this is 1.37. So these are little mortars. They're going to just like lob shots down on top of them. Now, here's the thing. 7.1 inches of armor, 1.8. Now, if we go over to the dunite, then we get, and again, close range. I'm really looking at getting up close and personal with this kind of a build. So 10 to 11 inches between 5 and 7.5 kilometers, 2.3, but the flash fire chance is at 45%. I don't know that I really like that. 14% accuracy at point blank range. Damage is 16 and 2200 with the dunite. Well, if we go back to picric acid, let's take a look at that. Where's the damage? Oh god, that was the little 5-inch gun. Okay, so let's do that with the standard AP shells. We get back to 2.5 inches of penetration at longer range with 12 and 30. 12 and 30. see, it's 16 and 14. It doesn't do much damage with the HE shells, but what we can do to counteract that, and then if we say Dunite on there, see, it's not as much damage for the HE shells, but again, what we can do to counteract 2.3, 2.3 on the pin. That's 2.5 on the pin. And boy, howdy, does that give the HE shells a lot of damage. Base fuse, if we go with nose fuse, what are we doing? Nose fuse isn't enough pin. I'm going to go, well, yeah, but it's more damage. Jesus Christ, almost 4,000 damage on that. So if we go back to those soft capped shells, it's 3 inches penetration, 1 inch of penetration at long range, and the damage is still quite effective, but it's a less chance of setting fire. So here's what I might want to do. I might just want to go down to the nose fuse and use this guy to light a whole bunch of fires. And what we'll do is we'll go to increased HE. Ammunition. Ah, there we go. Damage, no. Anyway, that's going to be more about where we want it, actually. Ammo is 110. So take a quarter of that, and it's less AP shells, which is fine because this isn't really an armor penetrating ship. It's going to be more about starting fires. And it's just sheer rate of fire, hence the shorter barrels, except for on these guns. I mean, seriously, almost 13 rounds a minute. Yeah. Which actually, if we put cordite, what's the rate of fire right now? 1.36. The cordite goes up to 1.3. It's not much. It's not really enough to be worth it. And the cordite's just going to increase the flash fire chance and everything else. So let's go with that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to up armor this. What's the maximum? Put 18 inches of armor on there. So let's go with 16 inches of armor, and we'll go with 18 on the barbette. 2 inches on top because it's going to be a close range ship. So the idea is going to be to close and close quickly. 99.4% engine efficiency with an 8-month refit. You know, we're getting to the point where we may as well just rebuild the entire ship. And we might wind up doing that, but right now, again, you know, this is part of what we do with this. Since we're using him for zone control, I'm also going to increase the operational range, add a little bit more fuel, maybe even max it out. What do we get? We get 12,000, but it's overweight by that point. So let's bring it back down. Well, 10,562 kilometer operational range. So they can go and hold territory better at that point. And armoring. Do we want to try to go for 7.5 on the fore and the aft? Let's do that, and let's see if we can't get 13. Ah, we can go to 13 on the main belt. Okay. The deck, the superstructure, the conning tower. What's the maximum on the conning tower? 18.8. So we'll leave that at 18. The inner belt is at 6 inches, so they have to go through 13 and another 6 inches, and after that, it's yeah. All right, I think that's going to about do it for our scattergun refit. We got an advanced foredeck 2, we got an advanced rear deck 1, which is pretty darn solid. and that gives us kind of a nice round weapon, a rounded weapon layout. Now what we could do is we could explore this option of secondary guns. Why does the 88 turret weigh more than the, probably because it's fully encased in armor. Um, well, that could be interesting. It would give us another layer of something. Um, maybe we just go with 5.9s. I don't know. Could we do that? We've got about 200 tons. Let's see what that does. If we can put this on here with a minimal length, what would that do to the ship's weight? Oh, that's going to throw the balance off for one. So let's see about back here. Actually, the ship is unbalanced to begin with. Can we put that on there? No, that's not going to work. It would have been interesting. Could have been interesting, but we'll leave this. We'll leave this like this. So let's see here. We're going to want to. Okay, and then the aft belt. Boom! Look at that. We got him. We got her back into perfect balance. All right. What is our beam is a minimal. It's absolute bare minimum on the beam. Our draft isn't anywhere special. So again, it makes this ship very fast. Okay, and that was the whole idea. That was the whole point, was to make the ship very fast, to close the gap quickly and use those high rate of fire carronades to just kind of go to work. I mean, I could put one of those on there, but you know what? It's not going to work right now. We're going to have to wait for more technology like geared turbines, Krupp 2. We could drop out one of the barbettes. Actually, what do we do? Yep, that's too much. How about anti-torp number 2? Can we put that on there? No. Okay. Reinforce. How about anti-flood number 2? Can we put that on there? Yes, we can. Oh, look at that. All right, so we're coming in at 8 months on the refit, but it's not like we're building a lot of these ships anyway. We've got 2 of them in service right now. All right, and there again, you know, they're zone control ships. They're just meant to be out there to put tonnage out there to protect the convoys. And they are typically escorted by destroyers, which have proven so far to be very effective at closing with his battleships and doing a lot of damage. So, 8 months on a refit. Let's see here. Maybe we can do something about this when new engine tech comes out. But for now, let's go ahead and save this. All right, so 8 months on the refit. We're going to save this, and then Jimmy it later if need be. All right. So far, for those of you that are also enjoying this game, so far, as I'm actually exemplifying right now, my ship builds are compatible. I mean, yes, granted that took a little while to that actually took a while to load, to switch over to the other ship. But so far my campaign save has been good. I honestly don't know if the game mechanics are working differently though. That's going to be one thing that I'm not entirely sure about. Anyway, we've got these little V45 they're 8 million apiece. Good God, those things were expensive, weren't they? V73s have Mine Hunter 2. These guys have Mine Hunter 2. And what do we have for Mine Hunter? Oh, wow, we're up at Mine Hunter 3 now. Okay. But it's all right, because honestly, those 73s, even the upgraded ones, I think, yeah, see, they're still underweight. 938 out of 1,000. They're still underweight. So that's why sometimes it's good to go ahead and build particularly with like destroyers. I found it's really advantageous to just go ahead and build a larger one, and fill it out with with weaponry that will work for that time. And if you're underweight, fine, because you can always go back and especially if the design proves to be very effective, you can go back and quite literally, just go back and give them some of those micro updates. Improve the mine laying, improve the ASW, so on and so forth. All right, so I think that is going to about cover it for today. All right. If you are enjoying the content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Hey, show a brother some love, please. All right, I'm trying to grow this thing, and for those of you that already have and are returning visitors, thank you so much for your support. Until next time, guys, take care. This is Wolf190D signing off.